The grandparent scam is one that sadly, even though we've been hearing so much about it, it continues to happen. And this is a worldwide scam where con artists are calling grandparents, putting a voice on the phone to make it sound like a grandchild that's theirs, that I'm in trouble and only you can help, grandma, grandpa. Then sometimes they put the supposed lawyer on the phone. The lawyer comes on and says, this is bad, very bad. Only one thing can help your grandchild. And what do we think that is? Money. Exactly. It's the pattern. It is always that pattern. And they'll tell you, don't call anyone, don't call your grandchild, don't call their parents. This will make things worse. Should anyone silence your voice? Never. Always know your voice is your power. The romance scam is another one that is targeting older adults, sadly, every single day, where we know people can be lonely, where we may be at home on our social media, using Facebook, Instagram. Some older adults have even looked at dating sites to look for companionship and friendship. And what happens are these romance scammers are out there to try to quickly befriend you, to tell you they know you, fall in love with you very quickly, send you photos, but yet you never see them because their camera isn't working. So there's always an excuse why you can't see them. Oh, but they love you so, so much. And sadly, what they want is to develop a relationship. Not in a week, not in 2 weeks, within hours. And from that relationship, they then say to you, oh, I'm in a little bit of a financial bind. But if you help me out, we can have this wonderful life together. And what is it they need from you? Money. And again, this is what is happening. And sadly, this is targeting women and men all over Canada and around the world. Sadly, this happened to an older adult living in the Barrie area who believed she was chatting. A lot of us saw that heartbreaking story where she believed she was speaking with a future love of her life. Sadly, that escalated to her traveling where she thought she was going to see him and was taking a parcel for him that was containing substances she should not have been taking, that was given to her. Kind of summarizing the story. Long story short, she is currently in jail overseas right now.
She's released now.
Had they released her? Oh, I hadn't heard. Wonderful. Okay. We're happy to hear that. Great. But it shows us that someone who, she's a very educated lady, a grandmother, but she believed whom she was speaking to was a true love of her life. Sadly, it was all a fraud and a scam to get her to bring packages and send money. And this is where it's happening every day globally to people. So to be really cautious if a romance all of a sudden turns into a financial transaction. Looking out for any type of phone calls that don't sound right, that we don't recognize the number. And even if the number looks like 416, 905, 613, area codes we recognize, let's just take a moment. I didn't call you, you're calling me. So I have control if I want to answer or I don't. If I want to continue a conversation, I don't. You're in control. So if you hear any of these type of calls, either just don't answer, or the moment you hear something that you say, what would Mary do right now? Mary would say, I don't recognize you. Reject immediately. You do not have to continue speaking to anyone that you don't feel comfortable speaking with. Let's never be afraid to say no. That simple word is our power. No on the telephone, no to opening the front door to someone you don't recognize, Know if somebody is trying to tell you you have to buy this, you have to sign this right away. No, I don't. I don't have to do anything. Use your power, use your voice, walk away. No is our way to stay safe and protect our money from any high-pressure sales, any type of interaction where somebody's trying to get our money. We need to be careful. We were all chatting a little bit today that we're online, we're sharing information sometimes, but let's be careful. Whom are we giving this information to? To be very careful with whom is asking us for our date of birth. What's your home address? What's your banking information? You know, can you send me some personal photos or send me some photos of your family? Unless we can say 110%, I know you, I trust you, we're friends, let's not share any information with anyone unless we know who they are. And always ask ourselves, why are they asking me for this information? We need to protect ourselves more and more, especially this time of year, where a lot of organizations may be asking for donations. And of course, we want to help the organizations we love and we work with. But let's reach out to them directly so the money goes to them directly. Not to a text message that may come on a phone and say, click here. Not to an email that looks correct but could be one letter off. And then what happens is that donation falls into the wrong hands. Work with the charities you love where you're able to help and donate, but go to them directly so the money is going into the right hands. Always say to yourself, again, if you've called me, I didn't call you. Why are you asking for very personal information? I don't know you. And if you are calling me saying you're my bank or you're saying you're the government, wouldn't you already know my social insurance number? Wouldn't you already know where I live? Wouldn't you already know my date of birth? So again, you'll hear this little voice. I don't recognize you. Reject immediately, just end communication. The prize fee. Ta-da! You've all won $1 million today. Feels good, doesn't it? Now, if you could just all give me $10 so I could get that money released for you. Anybody in? No, it's a scam. These are what we call the prize fee scams. You know, creating that wonderful feeling. You've won a car, you've won a home, a vacation. But in order to receive it, you just need to pay a small amount. In Canada, the law states there are no prize fees. If you've won something, it's free of charge. So things we have to be careful with, and then say to ourselves again, did I enter a contest? So how did I win? I don't remember entering something. So just for us to always be ready to recognize, reject. Now, if you do win $1 million, give me a shout. We'll go for coffee. And again, protecting ourselves online. Just knowing what we're surfing the web with, what websites we're looking at. Just kind of to be careful with where we click and where we see all of a sudden a site asking us for information that we may not be sure of. And of course, to be careful if we get any pop-ups that say, hi, I'm from Apple, I'm from Microsoft, I'm from Dell. You have a virus. Click here so I can help you. Right there say, how do they know? Like, where on earth is this coming from? Immediately delete that. We never want anyone to have access into your computer unless you know them or you've called your service provider and given them permission. Trust me, Bill Gates is not calling us from Microsoft to tell us there's a problem. He's very busy, and we know Apple isn't calling. So right there, it's somebody trying to get into your information. Because our computers house our banking, personal documents, financial documents. So somebody wants to get in there and see all of that. Never allow access unless You've contacted your service provider, so you know you're working with a trusted source. Images online, again, people say, well, I deleted it. Now, I'm no expert on tech, but I know once something's out there, it's out there. So just to be cautious, who is asking you for photos? Why are they asking you? Do I know them? So to be careful what we're sharing online, because we never want someone to then try to use that to try and hurt us and get money from us, to say, well, now I'm going to expose that photo. So always just to be very cautious. Do I know you? Did I recognize you? No. Again, the voice of Mary, reject, delete immediately. Using strong passwords, keeping passwords safe. Who loves changing passwords? Nobody. But we need to. It helps keep ourselves on our game. We try and put characters, capital letters, numbers, anything to make it more difficult so a scammer or a hacker can't get in. We know it can happen. Our good friends at Indigo Books a few months ago got hacked in, and sadly information of hundreds of thousands of people who bought online, that information became exposed. And they can use that information to now say, oh, I know you like books on cooking. All of a sudden you get an email, a cookbook that's normally $49.99 is $9.99. But quickly, click, it's only a limited time offer. They try to get our information. So we've got to be cautious of those things. Thankfully, Indigo was able to work and get their information back protected, but we know it can happen. So keep your password safe, and always, if someone asks you for your password, should you give it to them? No. Use that big, strong word. No. Why are you asking me? No. There we go. Safety.